Hey, welcome in. Ooh, a little hot in there. Welcome to Kudzu Sports. I'm your host, Rick Beach, in the National Audio Visual Studios. Services Studios, that is. Got a little bit of hands full today, I ain't gonna lie. I just been doing 15 minutes talking to myself. Appreciate the heads up, Alex, on that. That's the kind of service you get with Navs. Nav's always there for you when something's going on. I'm in here just talking to myself, get a text wondering what's up, so thanks, Alex. Like I said, National Audio Visual Services. They got everything you need. Dude's got, gigs popping up left and right, big jobs, but hey, he ain't scared to get his hands dirty, come in and help somebody on a small job. Great company, great dude. I brag on him all the time, and I'll brag on him till I can, until the end of time with him. Great dude, great company, his wife, great people, kids are awesome, fun, always something going on, exciting. And like I said, I'm hoping he'll get this. I don't even know if he wants it, but I want it for him. The job with the high school at Harris County, getting the new indoor facility. Really hope he gets it. Like I said, I don't even know if he wants it, but if he does go for it, I'll always, going to support him and do whatever I can to help him. Even though I'm a nobody to them people, I'll still try. Alex, I try whatever I can to help you out, even though I'll never be able to match how much you help me, but hey, I can try. So yeah, National Audiovisual Services. Get whatever you need from Alex. You look him up on, I think it's 617. I ain't going to give you the wrong number, so I'd rather give you none. I don't want y'all to blow somebody's grandma up, calling her up about some services. Well, some audio-visual services she might not be able to give. But yeah, Alex, appreciate the heads up. Like I said, I was doing 15 minutes in here talking to myself, talking about the Braves, so that's exciting. I don't mind doing it again. I talk to myself pretty regular. This was just into a microphone. The Braves 1 day away. You got we got 7 months for baseball season once it starts. So it starts tomorrow at 1. Of course, the Braves are going to play the first 3 games at daytime. Wouldn't have it any other way, it seems like. So it's what we've come to expect with Atlanta, from Major League Baseball, not Atlanta, what you come to expect from MLB. So it's going to be fun. Max Fried gets to start tomorrow. I've been really excited about this offense because what they've done in the spring and how they've been hitting. But the pitching staff has been lights out. They've been phenomenal in the spring training. And it gets overshadowed like any time in baseball. It's always going to get overshadowed with offense. Matt Olson hitting 7 bombs, Zuna batting over 320, Arcia batting 341. That's going to cover it up. Ronnie Acuna just killing the ball, got the triple the other day. The sound the ball makes off his bat is incredible. It's fun. And I think for Atlanta, for fans, offense is always fun. But for Atlanta fans, we are unique where, we grew up with the Glavine, Maddox, and Smoltz. We grew up in that era. And for the fans, if you were born in the 80s, 90s and kind of remember born in the early 90s and remember that 90s Braves, we love some good pitching. We love watching some, and it just wasn't the big 3. You talk to anybody, I could talk to Alex right now. I could talk to Tyler Redmond right now. Deanie Nagel, Kevin Millwood, them guys, Charlie Lee Brandt, those were some studs back in the Steve Avery, that don't get the hype. The big 3, obviously, because they weren't winning the Cy Youngs, but they were solid pitchers. I remember, might have been 97, 98, Kevin Millwood against the Padres, a 1-hitter in the playoffs. Incredible game. That was Ken Caminiti. Was on that Astros team. Jeff Bagwell, Craig Biggio, Derek Bell. Good offense. Kevin Millwood was slinging. And that was like the 4th best pitcher on the Braves. So, that's, we love some good pitching, and the Braves got it. Charlie Morton is your 4, which I think he's the 4. I don't know where he's going to be at in the rotation. It really don't matter till the postseason, to be honest. You got your ace, and you like him to line up with other aces. That's the kind of how you want your lineup to fall. But, Max Fried, Spencer Strider, and I'd go Kyle Wright. I think he's going to be the Braves' third best pitcher. And then you go Charlie Morton. But I tell you, if Michael Soroka comes back and he's anywhere close to where he was before he got hurt in 2020, this pitching staff just got way, way better. Like scary good. And if they go into the postseason, if he hits his stride going into the postseason, that's going to be a rotation that could take you to another World Series. And that's talking just pitching. And like I said, they're killing the ball in the spring training. The offense. Let that pitching staff start carrying it, and then the offense get going at the same time. You know, you get the crowd excitement. This Braves team is set. The Sean Murphy edition, I think stolen bases are going to be a big difference this year in baseball. The size of the bases, the throwing over, a lot of these changes are making it more advantageous for base stealers. Like Ronald Acuna, Ozzie Albies. The Braves got that. They got, Arcia. They got some guys that can swipe some bases. And they just happen to go trade for a guy who's going to prevent that. Sean Murphy is electric behind the plate. His throwdown time is incredible. And that's exciting that the Braves knew that. And they're also getting a guy that hit one over the backstop the other day of the game in spring training. So he's also got some pop in his bat. And Darno's a really good catcher too. But he's no Sean Murphy, especially on getting the ball down there. So the Braves are looking to steal some bases this year, and they're looking to prevent it with their new addition. They could throw power with you with Spencer Strider, or they could just finesse you with the Max Fried. They can hit for average, or they can hit for power. They can small ball you to death with Ozzie Albies, and they can long ball you to death with anybody, including Ozzie. So I mean it's an exciting time. You know, last year we were coming off the World Series, and I think as a fan, at the beginning of the year, you're still on that high. So now the chase is back on. Now we're excited about chasing for another World Series. That's excitement. That's fun. That's what I'm excited about now. Okay, we enjoyed last year. We had the gold trim. We had the cool uniforms last year for some of the games and the giveaways and the replica ring nights. And okay, that was fun. You celebrate the World Series the whole season. And not just the Braves. Everybody does that. The Astros will be doing it this year. So now it's back to the grind to get another one. The Braves ran out of gas last year, chasing the Mets down 10 back. That series before the last one where they swept the Mets, that was it. That was their final shot. That was their last little bit of gas. They went down to the Marlins and struggled in the last 3 games to even clinch. You know, you got to remember those games. Even the clincher was a struggle. Then they go against Philly, and they're just out of gas. And, you know, I wasn't upset. I don't think many Braves fans were really upset. Plus, you just won the World Series the year before after chasing it for 20 years again. You can't be mad about that. So, a lot of excitement. I'm super excited about the Braves starting off. It's back to how every year was other than last year because, like I said, coming off a championship, and Georgia fans went through it too, and I can speak for that, you're still celebrating. When Georgia kicked off against Oregon, you're still celebrating that national championship as far as you're the national champion. You're still the national champion. Until you get beat, you kind of feel you're that national champion. Now when you're not, okay, let's go get it. Now as a fan, we're chasing to go get it, and the chase is on. And that's what makes you as a fan coming back. You know, I don't think sports would be near as enjoyable if we had to admit it if you won it every single year. It's those years you don't win it that makes you chase it, that makes you really enjoy it. And maybe that's just me growing up a Georgia sports fan where it seemed like I chased it my whole life until the last couple of years. But it does make you look back on how close you come as a Braves. You can think any of those years in the 90s how close you come. You know, 96 was right there for the Braves. 96 was equivalent to 2nd and 26 for Georgia. Up 2-0 coming back to Atlanta? Are you kidding me? And you lose 4 in a row, 3 at home? You lose 3 in a row at home? Come on. That's ridiculous. Especially when you're the defending World Series champ. I mean, that should have been easy. You come home. Look, I was 11 years old, and that ticks me off thinking about it now. You come home with Tom Glavine going, and you lose. But see, that's the thing. Those stick with me more than winning it in '95. As fun as it was, as winning it in 2021. You think back to 2020 when you had AJ Minner starting a game for you. You think back to, what was it, 2013 when you give up a home run with the best closer in baseball warming up in the bullpen. Those stick in your craw, never get out. It's them close defeats, them close moments, them almost had you. That's what makes me come back the next year. Like, okay, we got close last year, let's go get it. And for the Braves, okay, we did get close last year. We lost to the team that won the National League. So as bad as we looked in the playoffs, we were still pretty good. So now they get to refocus and they go get it. And I think they're going to this year. I think there's going to be the 6th NL East championship in a row, and they're going to make a run at it. I just think they're too deep everywhere. Rotation, bullpen, offense, too deep. Need to steal bases, they got it. I talked about all this offense with the hitting for power, average, and stealing bases. I didn't even bring up Michael Harris III. He can do all that. He's going to be your 2020 guy. I think he could. Now, if he gets the 20 home runs, maybe not. Acuna will. I think he's 20, 30, 30, no doubt. Seeing how many bases they can steal is going to be the exciting part. If he can start swiping them, his knee is back to where it was, before the injury, and man, it's going to be scary. But baseball's fun. It's always fun around here. But we are getting close, switching over to football. We're getting super close to the spring games. Auburn kicks off next Saturday, April 8th. It's a noon. Man, it's going to be fun. I think the score is going to be 24-0 at the start of the game. Defense is going to be winning, and the offense has to try to come back. I think, a lot of people talking quarterback. Holden Grinner, the starter, dude from Savannah. I can't remember the high school, but he beat Carver in the playoffs. But Holden is really good quarterback. But I still think it's Robbie Ashford's offense, Robbie Ashford's team. The surgery that he had, I think that shoulder was holding him back more than he wants to admit, more than the team might admit. And plus, not just the shoulder. I think the whole team, the whole vibe of the team last year was so bad. Before Cadillac came in there, the whole Harsin stuff, it was just not good juju. And I think Ashford suffered from that. The offensive line was horrendous. I talk about it every week. That was the worst offensive line I think I've ever seen in the SEC. And at a place like Auburn, that's absurd. You're so close to Atlanta. You're so close to Florida. You're so close to, Birmingham. You can get all this talent, and you have no offensive line. You have, Tank getting hit in the backfield every game. His average yards per contact is negative. That's not your sacks or just enormous amount of sacks given up. No quarterback can thrive in that environment, getting hit like that. So this year, I think that offensive line has to improve because it can't get any worse. The schedule, you opened, 5 straight home games last year. You don't have that no more. Second week, you're going all the way out to California for a game. Now, is Kyle Berkeley good? No. They're not a good football team. They haven't been for years. But you got Auburn coming in, second game under Hugh Freeze. Don't know who the quarterback's going to be. You're replacing 3 good players on defensive front, and Colby Wooten, Derek Hall, Owen Popeau. You got to replace those guys. So the Kyle trip is tricky for Auburn. Like I said, that's second week of the year. They got a big schedule coming up, and it starts next Saturday at A-Day. Seeing how they respond, down 24-0. If that's, is that a gimmick? I don't know. It seems kind of silly when you first hear it, but then you kind of talk yourself into liking it to an extent. I think Hugh Freeze is going to be a good coach at Auburn. Look, is he the next, Urban Meyer, the next Kirby Smart, or Nick Saban? I don't know. I'm not going to say no, and I ain't going to say yes. Who knows? He recruited well at Ole Miss. Then we find out why. But he did good at Liberty. He didn't put crap teams out there at Liberty. He was doing really good. He put up good numbers. He had good quarterback play. And he won with Bo Wallace at Ole Miss. So, I feel confident he's not going to come in and win, 4 out of 5 national championships. But I do think he could be competitive and compete for national championships on a, maybe every third year kind of thing. But with 12 teams in the playoffs, he can make the playoffs most years. Auburn should be a top 12 team every year. That's not out of the realm of possibilities for Auburn to say we should be in the playoffs, each year. Okay, you should be in the top 12 each year. Oh, yeah, you're in the SEC and you're a power program, or was for a long time. I think Gus would have had you there. I'm a big Gus guy. I ain't going to lie. I make no bones about it. I love some Gus Malzahn. He was super nice. He treated, he was always up front with people. He won 8, 9 games, but that's not bad. That's not awful. It's only awful when you're chasing the 2 best teams in the country every year. And that's what Auburn's doing essentially. The Auburn holds herself to where they expect to be up there with Georgia and Alabama, and that's hard to do. Especially when you got to compete with them 2, then you throw in the LSU. It is really hard. So, Auburn, like I said, next Saturday kind of starts their track to the season. We kind of see where they're at, see where the quarterbacks are at, see where this defense is at. I think it's exciting to see. Georgia still be another Saturday after that. What's that, the 15th? A lot more questions at quarterback for Georgia as far as, okay, Auburn wants a quarterback to come in there and run the offense and kind of develop throughout the season. For Georgia, even though your schedule is not that strong, you're bringing in a guy that has to come in and do something that ain't been done since, the 30s? Or it's a disappointing season. That's what I've told people when they hired Mike Bobo. Mike Bobo I think he's a great offensive coordinator. I think he's going to be a good play caller this year for Georgia. The problem is if Georgia don't win their 3rd national championship in a row, which hasn't been done since like Minnesota in the 30s, it's going to be Bobo's fault. Not the fact that it's almost statistically impossible. It's the fact that, they went with X quarterback, or they went with Bobo, or they went with this. It's a lot of pressure at Georgia. And if you're the new quarterback, you got a lot of pressure on you. I feel Carson Beck's going to be the guy. I think he's going to be the dude. But, as fans, we're wrong. I think there's not a fan in the world that told you in 2020 or even at the start of 2021. Just go to after the COVID year, 2021, Georgia's national championship, the first one. Beck was the backup quarterback going into that game with Clemson. Beck was the number 2. Then when the UAB game, he got skipped for Stetson. So there's really, I don't think anybody can honestly say going into that year that they were saying Stetson Bennett ought to be the quarterback. I wasn't saying it till the end of the year. Was like, okay, dude's kind of showing he's got that it going. He got that swagger to him. He's got the knowledge. He's got, a little chip on his shoulder. And JT showed he was a little soft. He hadn't played much. He seemed to play a game out. And Stetson was taking the Auburn game, takes a shot to the head, bounces right back up. He just always bouncing up. And later in the year, I remember when I was writing Fan Sided, and I said Georgia can win games with Stetson Bennett, but they can't win championships with Stetson Bennett. I don't try to hide from stuff I've said before. I mean, heck, it's on the internet. I've said it before. It wasn't that I wasn't a Stetson Bennett fan. I was just saying Georgia can win these games, but I thought JT was the guy. So if I sit here and say Carson Beck is going to be the quarterback, then in October people can say, you idiot, you said Carson Beck. And Brock Vandergrift's the quarterback. You're going to stop. Okay. They're all really good quarterbacks, so take your pick. There's not a Joe Terzinski in this bunch. There's not a Joe Cox out of these 3. These are choosing 3 legit quarterbacks. 3 big-time quarterbacks coming out of high school. These ain't 2 stars or 3 stars that wasn't getting many looks, and you're throwing them out there. These are all blue chip, 4 and 5 star recruits that are big names, big arms. They all do something. Carson Beck's got the big arm. Gunnar Stockton's your physical runner. Brock Vandergrift's your dual threat. They all got something. They've all played against the best defense the last 2 years. where Gunnar Stockton for one. The other two's played, the best two defenses of Georgia's history the back-to-back years. They're going to play them again this year in practice every week. Carson Beck's got national championship game experience. Mop-up duty, but he was there, and he hit some throws. Running back, saw Kendall Milton's out for the rest of spring. But you got Robinson. You got some studs at running back. That's not going to be – I think Georgia's going to get back to running the ball a little bit. With Bobo, they are going to run the ball, I think, a little more. Fans can like it or not, but that's what's going to happen. And especially breaking in new quarterbacks so early in the year, lean on the run game. The Georgia schedule, because of the Oklahoma game coming out of it, obviously it's not nowhere near, what people would expect. But honestly, it's no different what Ohio State and Clemson been doing for years. And at the end of the day, you still got to play a stud team out of the West. Whether it be LSU again or Alabama, Georgia's going to have to play one of them. Tennessee's going to be good. Are they going to be what they were last year? I don't know. That offense was great, but I don't know if that's the offense that's going to sustain year in, year out greatness. I don't know if it was Hendon Hooker. I don't know why. They were incredible last year, but I don't know if they can do that every single year in the SEC. Defensive coordinator is going to catch up to some of that stuff. It seems, Kirby's had a pretty good handle on it. But you don't want to say too much because you would think Nick Saban had a pretty good handle on it. And then, 40 points, 50 points last year, some crazy number. So, you never know. And with Georgia's schedule going into last year, they didn't have any big games at home. Then Tennessee ends up being the number one team in the country at home. And you got the biggest game of the year is in Athens. So you never know. And the same thing for Auburn. You never, you can look at them and Georgia, Bama, those are going to be some big games. But you don't know what Ole Miss is going to be. They could have one loss when you play them. They could have four. You never know. And that's where you're at in the SEC this year. The last year with this kind of schedule, and I don't know what they're going to go to with the, expansion coming in next year with Oklahoma and Texas. But I think it's going to be fun. I think you're going to see a lot of cool stuff going on. And I'm excited about that. I think that's going to be close to kind of like NFL type scheduling. You're seeing these big teams, and these teams are getting really good. Some of these teams are, the Ole Miss, Mississippi States are going to get, and they should get better and better with the money that they're coming in, with the facilities they can build, and you're hoping that's going to be what happens. So it's fun stuff. Like I said, Braves start tomorrow. Get Max Fried on the mound. I did talk to Tyler Redmond. I know last week I said I was going to try to get him on the Zoom. We talked about it. Schedules don't really work out. His real job keeps him super busy. The on-deck stuff makes him even busier. He's always got, his schedule is ridiculous. And it's cool. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for everything going on at on deck. Dude's worked his tail off and earned everything he's got from, in changing, TV places, then killing it where he's at. Happy for the dude. We're going to get him on here. I talk to Tyler pretty regular. So, I like having him on here. We can talk some Braves baseball. And he can kind of come on here and relax and not be his suit and tie guy. He can come on here and kind of be Tyler. And that's what I love about it. So we're about to get out of here. Appreciate everybody checking in. I know we was a little late getting on and on the live side. But, hey, don't forget to subscribe. Wherever that is on here, subscribe. And then, copy the link and share it on social media. I'm going to do it, but, hey, it was fun to see other people doing it too. And that's all we got this week. See ya.